Good evening, everyone. We welcome everyone here tonight. Got a good crowd. City of Shelbyville Mayor and City Council regular City Council meeting. It's February the 12th. It's about 6 p.m. First thing on our agenda tonight, we want to ask our Officer King to call our meeting to order.
All rise. This February of 2026 meeting of Shelbyville City Council is about to commence. Please silence all cell phones and noise-making devices. We ask that you remain standing for the invocation and the pledge of allegiance. At the conclusion of tonight's meeting, the building will be closed and returned to a secure facility. We ask that if you have any business to conduct following the meeting, to do so within 5 minutes and depart the building forthwith. Following the meeting, the council meeting has adjourned. In 5 minutes, this building will return to a secure facility.
Thank you. Ben, would you come? Invocation. Thank you.
Thank you, Heavenly Father, for allowing us the beautiful day to come here and do the work of the city of Shelbyville. Please help every decision here made be in honor of all the residents that we work for. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. If you would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, folks. Sorry about the seating. We've got everybody out, some others out there, and hopefully they've got a view of it. Looks like they do. Okay. Roll call, Lisa, is our next item on our agenda.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Feldhouse.
Here.
Councilmember Ewing. Here. Councilmember Noel. Here. Councilmember Christie.
Here.
Councilmember Blevins.
Here.
Councilmember Turnbull.
Here.
You do have a quorum, Mr. Mayor. All members are present.
All right, thank you. All right, the adoption of the agenda. Before we do that, we've got about 4 items to add. Lisa, do you want to read those or do you want me to?
I'll be glad to, yes.
All right, please.
We're asking to amend the agenda by removing resolution item A, which was on the build grant application, and it'll be added back as a business item. We're going to ask to add resolution B, which is a resolution of the city of Shelbyville authorizing a grant application for the 2026 Rescue Squad grant. And then we're going to ask to add business item F, which is consideration of a motion to authorize the application for the Better Utilizing Investments to Leverage Development or BUILD grant. And then add business item G, which is consideration of a motion to authorize the mayor to sign a letter of support for the Shelbyville Housing Authority's conversion to housing assistance payment as approved by HUD. So in essence, we're removing one resolution, adding back another resolution, and adding 2 business items.
All right, thank you for that. I will need a motion to amend the agenda and add these items to it. Do I have that motion?
Motion to amend.
All right,
Second.
second, all right. All those in favor of amending the agenda tonight?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, then I will need a motion to adopt the agenda as amended. Do I have that motion? All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. All right. The next item on the agenda is public comments. Lisa, do we have any tonight?
Yes, sir, we do. Just 1 second. Mr. Chuck Glover. Glover?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Glover, you know
I know the drill.
you have 3 minutes and they'll start when you start talking.
Got just a little background on me. I've been a resident of Beverly County, Shelbyville for over 50 years. I've been a registered voter for 48 of those, so probably helped elect a few of y'all. Between my wife and I, we've raised 5 children and a grandchild here. If any of you have seen the recent poll on Shelbyville Now, it talks about growth in Shelbyville. So far, it looks like the population, Shelbyville and Bedford counties indicated that they want to slow the growth by 35% or limit it by 33. That's 68% of the population of this county and this city that support slowing this growth down just a little bit. And that's the people that have taken the poll, not all residents, of course. The planning commission has voted to approve or to send forth a recommendation not to allow the zoning request for this Jackson Street property to go through. That was sent through at a 6-1 vote, so that's a large majority. That's an unfavorable recommendation. During the city council study session last week, there was a lot of discussion over this. My question is, we know what the planning commission recommends, what do we need them for? 6-1 vote, that's quite a bit. Original map on this property shows us 10 lots. I'm sure they were probably single family design back in 1944. Of those 10 lots, one lot's been sold off, that's 4 acres. The house, I think straddles 2 lots, that's 8 and 9. That leaves lots 1 through 7 for approximately 9.2 acres, not 14 that's listed on the agenda. The north side of Jackson Street is zoned R3, but there's no duplexes on Jackson Street, that front, north or south. And I know last week there was a general statement made that there were duplexes in the area. I just want to clarify, there are duplexes in the area, but they are on branches off of Jackson or cul-de-sacs. They're not on Jackson. People who maybe want to let this go through, maybe it don't affect them. If it's in your neighborhood, you may feel different about that. I personally don't think that it blends well with the existing houses, nor do I feel like Shelbyville needs more rental property. As a longtime tax-paying resident of Shelbyville, I would ask that you consider this information, deny this request, and remember, when you say yes to this, it applies to everything they want to put on that property, not just the 9 units.
Thank you. All right, Lisa, do we have any more?
No, sir, we do not have anybody else signed up for public comments.
All right. At this time then, we'll ask our city manager, Scott Collins, to give his report. Scott?
Thank you, Mayor. As y'all know, the city recently received a downtown improvement grant from the Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development. We had our public meeting Monday morning, and it was very well attended. It had over 14 property owners, maybe 15, and a couple of them have multiple properties. So chances are there will be a request to TDEC to allow us, or not TDEC, Tennessee ECD Main Street program to allow us to fund more than 7 private businesses. And our representative from South Central Tennessee Development District, she feels confident that we can do that. But again, a lot of enthusiasm, very good meeting.
Good.
The only other thing I'll touch on tonight is the Riverwalk project. TAP is moving forward. Contact has been made with some of the property owners along the proposed trail path, and the process is underway. Mayor, that's all I have at this time.
Okay. Any questions for Scott at this time?
Mr.
Marilyn?
Mr. Mayor, I don't have a question, but I do want to ask. I know that we at some point had a scheduled meeting for animal control and some other things. And I want to see where we are on that. I know that City Manager Collins, you do put that in your briefs on occasions, but we need to probably get that squared away, at least a meeting.
Yes, ma'am, and we have been having meetings. Primarily, our city attorney has been working with the animal control staff, the deputy chief and others. And she is cross-referenced, and I don't mean to speak for you, Ginger, but she's checking Tennessee Code Annotated to make sure anything we propose to you does not conflict with it. And where it stands at this point, we're getting cost estimates on what it's gonna take. If we're gonna need an additional officer, if we're gonna need chicken coops, and several other expenses that will come with full enforcement of the rooster ban and at-large chickens, as well as dog issues. I mean, they're being addressed too. And we hope to have that information in the next week or so. And by budget time, we will definitely be bringing it to you.
Yeah, well, at this point, it's in their hands about trying to come up with some budget numbers.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other? Thank you. All right, let's move to the next item, consent agenda. All items in this portion of the agenda are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the council and may be approved by one motion. However, a council member may request that an item be removed for separate consideration. The first one is approval of the city council minutes of the following. Study session of December the 1st, 2025. Regular meeting of December the 16th, 2025. Study session of December the 30th, 2025. And the regular meeting of January the 8th, 2026. B, accept all monthly reports for the month of January. C, accept treasurer's report for the month of December. D, approval of accounts payable for the month of January. And E, approval to expand the purpose of the Employee Benefits Review Committee to include pay benefits. Now, does anyone wish to remove an item? If not, I'll need a motion to approve. A second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on that? All right. Lisa, please, a roll call.
Councilmember Feldhouse,
Yes.
Councilmember Ewing,
Yes.
Councilmember Noel,
Yes.
Councilmember Christie,
Yes.
Councilmember Broadus,
Yes.
Councilmember Turnbow.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, public hearings, the next item, we don't have any tonight. The next item would be a consideration of a motion to allow the city attorney, Ms. Schaffner, sitting next to me, to read captions only on the ordinances and resolutions. Do I have a motion to approve that? In a second, all right. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, all right. Ginger?
You all have one ordinance on first reading. It is an ordinance of the Shelbyville City Council to amend the Shelbyville zoning map by approving the rezoning of approximately 14 plus or minus acres, known as Patterson Addition Combination, owned by Michael, Drew, and Courtney Clardy, and addressed as 933 West Jackson Street, and identified in Bedford County, Tennessee tax record as tax map 88, parcel 62, attached as Exhibit A and Exhibit B, the recorded plat, from industrial I-1 light industrial to residential 3 medium density residential, and repealing any ordinance or portion of an ordinance in conflict therewith.
Okay, before I ask for a motion, we're going to ask Tom Batchelor to come up and speak, and then we have the owners of the property and probably their representatives if they need to speak.
Mayor,
Yes.
if I could, before, I just do want to point out to you all that, and this was brought up to you at your study session, that the acreage in the caption of your ordinance is incorrect.
Right.
So whatever you all do when we get to this, if you want to make a motion on it, we probably need to amend the caption of the ordinance to make sure it's the appropriate amount of acreage. And I know Tom was preparing to walk you all through that tonight. So
Okay.
just pointing that out, that's a little bit of a procedural issue we have to address.
All right, Mr. Batchelor. Thank you very much.
So originally, the original Patterson addition or Patterson subdivision had 14 acres, and since then it has been subdivided, or it's 11.15 that has at least with the that's been surveyed for the plat. Let's see here. So I made the corrections on there, and I updated everything in asterisks on the slides. We had one letter of opposition from Tyson's, as I brought up during the meetings, and a neighbor spoke about it today. In the analysis, you can see the original 1949 subdivided parcels. As far as we can tell from our records, this was Zone I-1, at least as early as 1989. I don't have any records that go back any further than that. It's always been I-1. I think that probably, I'm just suggestion as far as from our analysis, that probably after 1948 or 1949, when these lots were created, the intention was residential based on the size of these lots. And at some point, it was rezoned I-1. The only thing I can presume is that maybe when Tyson's came in 1959 or so, that's when it took place. There were a lot of industrial in that area. Buck, who's not here, mentioned that West Jackson was probably classified as a collector at that time by the state. But all this is just conjectural. I mean, it's just basically based on our analysis. So in December 2025, the planning committee, or I should say that the planning commission approved the combination of those lots into one lot. I could delve a little bit deeper into the future land use map, which does support a mixed residential. Part of it is R3, which is duplex development. Tyson's is also that way as well, but I think that based on just analysis of the future land use map, the intention was that this portion of the area would become residential. Now, based on Shelbyville Power's records, there's never been taps for those parcels that were there, which, as well as going back into the aerial photographs, at least 30 plus years, there's never been any development on those properties. As a comparison, because I've heard people compare it to 426 Dover Street, which was denied. I would say this is probably closer to maybe a lot of similarities with the Coney Island development. And I'll show you side-by-side comparisons of the two. This is the Coney Island, which back in 2021, trying not to blind anybody, these lots here, this one doesn't show the original 2021 because there was a house. There's a house there. There were a couple of barns on the property. There were larger lots, but there were at least 7 lots across there. And that was in the 2021 from, I should say it was Mr. Dickens, who had subdivided it as single family dwellings. It was a little while later, let's see, in 2024, there was a phase 2. That was under Hawkins and Price, who purchased the property, and added a few more duplex lots on the property. And then in 2025, phase 3 was recorded, as you see the configuration now. And since on or before 1989, this area was zone R3. So it was already permitted by right. Our zoning ordinance hasn't changed significantly that wouldn't allow the duplex dwelling. This project here is what caused the changes in our subdivision regulation that created. So Coney Island here is also, I think it's a minor arterial. We made some changes, I think it was, let's see, it's almost 3 years ago now, in our subdivision regulations, because the developer was asked not to put direct access onto an arterial, and they refused to do that. So what you see are 2 different time periods where this development occurred. These ones to the right here were done under the older subregs. This one here is under the newer subregs. And I can, I didn't prepare any slides for the subregs part of it that were changed, but Let me just read what are. The planning commission made a number of changes, but one of them has to do with direct access onto an arterial or a collector. Let's see, I think it's towards the back here, sorry. These are the slides for the presentation. You can see that. Okay, it was entitled Restrictions of Access on Arterials and Collectors. And so what you see here, and let me go back to this one. The provisions required that there was indirect access to the duplexes, which is why you see in the concept this interior room. So that was to reduce the number of conflict points by the drives, created by the drives. So in Coney Island, and I won't spend too much time on it because this was an older project. There was an attempt to develop the rear section, rear portion of it, which failed in 2025. And so what they have is existing, but they were able to create this cul-de-sac in there for that development. You can see the side-by-side comparison. There's a lot of similarities to it, at least with the flood hazard areas, and even the looks and the configuration of it. I did check on Councilwoman Noel's question about the duplex development. It was already brought up that the duplex subdivision is off the West Jackson Street and to the northwest. And you see it in that subdivision. And the predominant house types are single family. And that was stated in my report that the housing types they differ. I changed the numbers to reflect the 11.15. You see there are 8 duplex lots. So there's 2 dwelling units, 16 dwelling units, 2 vehicles per dwelling units, 32 vehicles. And I would say that, it depends, the size of the family can vary, but you're talking about between 32 and 64 individuals, depending on the size of the duplex. That's just provide just rough numbers for the estimation. But these are the gross densities, and I want to emphasize that this is not specific density numbers, but it at least gives us an idea of what's possible for the site. So I've changed all the numbers here, and here's the future land use map that shows the consistency with the future land use map. And you can see Tyson is a larger property. Here's the subject parcels. And we go on. These are the same slides as before. You have I-1, you have R3, and I understand typically, when you see, this is not considered a neighborhood here, but that's just a nuance item. It does have R3 in that area. And then as you see in the larger image there to the left, that you have I-1 zone, and as National Penn is I-2. So that might have been, and that's why we thought, in our analysis that this whole area was probably rezoned to I-1 or created even at the time when the first zoning ordinance came into effect. You can see from the images all the way back to 1992, there hasn't been any development. Yeah, West Jackson, even though it's a collector, is a substandard, it's an older road. The biggest thing I think that was mentioned that I didn't realize, but I found out from Buck on Monday was that, can I go back? Sorry. I just want to show one other thing. Okay, sorry. Okay, you can just stay right there. So in our essential nexus test and rough proportionality, these parcels, so the frontage along these parcels would have to be improved. The issue is, and this is what I found out from Buck, was that the flooding actually starts at the bridge. So even if the road were improved, there's not much we can do about getting it out of the floodplain. There are requirements under floodplain regulations that requires the heights of the houses to be higher than the floodplain. But you're gonna have the similar conditions that you have on Coney Island where you have flooding in there. And that's all I had essentially.
All right, thank you, Tom. We appreciate that. We'll ask the owner of the property and developer to come forward now and if they can give you some time.
Yeah, I'd like to pass out a couple things, so.
All right. Good evening, folks.
The first one is directly across the street from us, which is already subdivided out. The water and sewer is already in place. It's R3, directly across the street. Mr. Johnson hasn't started building on there and said that maybe one day he'll sell it, but at this time he has no desire to sell it, which is next door to Mr. Glover's house. Yeah, there's already water and sewer there. This is gonna be, so what I did is I drove down every road within 500 feet of my frontage, to the right, straight across, or to the west. And on Cedar River Drive Road, there's 26 dwellings total on the whole road. And 14 of those dwellings are duplexes. On Cedar Grove Road, there's 17 dwellings and 10 are duplexes. On West End Circle, there's 15 dwellings and 7 duplexes. And on Baker Street, right now, there's 3 brand new duplexes that are being built by Curl. And there's a total of 6 out of 29 houses on Baker Street that are also duplexes. And I went through and took pictures of every single duplex that's through there. And to Mr. Glover's comment earlier about there's no duplexes that are on West Jackson is actually false. There's one that is already built. It doesn't front it. The back of the duplex fronts West Jackson. And it is on the corner of West Jackson and Cedar Grove. There's also a picture of that in there. And then there's also a lot that's they've already taken the house down and they're going to build a duplex on it that is going to be fronting West Jackson, which is to the west of my property. So those are some things to take in consideration whenever they say there's none on West Jackson. At this time, there's one. Next month, they're going to be starting construction of another one 300 yards from my property. So that's all I really have. We've written up a speech.
We're
So.
kind of backwards, sorry. I should
Oh,
have
you're
probably
doing
done
good.
the speech
You're doing
first, but I just thought the photos maybe would kind of, and the numbers, just based off of what the data we just heard. But anyways, I'm glad I don't have to do this in 3 minutes. I practiced so many times, but I'm gonna slow down a little so y'all can understand me.
Okay.
Now that I know I'm not being timed. But I'm Courtney Clardy. My husband and I spoke at the study session last week about our request for rezoning of our property on West Jackson and our desire to build 8 duplexes as a long-term investment for our family. We reached out to many of you this week, and we certainly appreciate your time. We also spoke with a few of the planning committee members. We learned a lot about opinions and processes and the successes and failures of past endeavors similar to ours. Honestly, we don't feel like the planning committee did their due diligence in thoroughly investigating and reviewing our proposal. Many of them were completely unfamiliar with the surrounding zoning and existing dwellings in our area, and we feel like they quickly voted no with little research or consideration. We left there feeling extremely frustrated and defeated. But I preach to my kids every day that we can't control what other people say and do. All we can control is how we react and respond to it. So I am not going to complain or wallow in self-pity. I am simply going to remember that we are blessed and kindly ask each of you once more to vote with us tonight. In my profession, we make decisions primarily based on data and evidence of this. If there's a condition that I'm not knowledgeable about, I consult with experts. And we developed this proposal with the same approach. We hired engineers. We worked closely with the local planning director. We looked at current and future land maps. We explored all surrounding and existing structures, and we reviewed recent socioeconomic data. to identify a need that we can help fulfill. Now, we have heard everything from some folks don't want any more R3 period, to a few contractors and individuals didn't do what they said they would, and they've ruined it for everyone else. To, I voted no because Tyson showed up at the meeting. But what we've not heard are any significant reasons based on factual data that indicate our zoning change would be harmful to the city of Shelbyville. I would like to reiterate, we have no qualms with Tyson. We live on a farm where my husband spreads chicken litter every spring. Our property on West Jackson is located to the west of Tyson. So the wind profile for Shelbyville reveals that wind flow is from the south the majority of the year and occasionally from the west, but almost always away from our property. But furthermore, if we are going to limit new construction due to potential occupant complaints about the smell, we'd have to stop building in the entire city, because there are many days I can smell them from my office on North Main. Our current understanding is that many on the planning committee would rather see us build single-family dwellings, but we don't want to build low-quality, unattractive, single-family units. And I'm not sure it makes sense to build $250,000 single-family homes right next to Tyson and the existing residences in the area, especially since the majority of it is already zoned R3. One of you mentioned it isn't personal and that running a city is like running a business. But in my line of work, it's critical to have the right people on your team. Smart, hardworking, reliable people who can communicate and collaborate with an open mind and a positive attitude. Now, I realize small town government decisions aren't life and death, but I feel the same principles apply here. We want to work with you all. We have already invested a great deal of time and money into this project. We have been completely transparent and tried to do everything right. Despite its shortcomings, this town is our home. We want to see it thrive. We want to leave it a better place than we found it. But we all have to do better if we want to be better. Again, we all appreciate your time and consideration, and if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
Questions, council?
I got one. Is the dirt pit gonna stay active in Shelbyville when you build these houses?
Yes, sir. That's why we're not gonna do anything about developing behind the road frontage.
Well, that's in the flood. You can't do the flood down back there anymore.
Do what?
That's, yeah, back here where it floods.
I mean, you can't, it's not feasible to build houses back
Yeah.
there. I mean, so that was the plan, was to use it for us to have for our excavating business if I need a load or two of dirt. So yes, it will stay there. That was the whole reasoning for only building on the front.
If I may, can I see the handout? I didn't get a copy of the handout.
Which one, both?
Well, the one with this right here, I believe. This is the property Royal Acres across the street.
Directly across the street.
I just want to make a clarification. Tom, you may need to jump in here. It's my understanding this is one parcel of land in the city of Shelbyville, is it not?
That's correct. It's a
This-
final plat.
This is a final plat that was recorded when?
1980s.
Yeah.
It says on the bottom.
So there are no vested rights. The owner of this property cannot develop it like this. Understand that?
Right.
There are no vested rights to that. Because if they had divided it already and it's a lot, but it's not a lot of record, so.
According to the owner, the sewer and water is already in place on the property for the lots.
He still doesn't have vested rights in this
Okay.
plat because he did not develop it in time.
Okay.
And that's not to say that the city wouldn't work with him. I just want to point out that distinction.
Yeah, okay. It is voted, I mean, it is
It
R3.
is zoned R3.
It's zoned R3.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you guys actually consult with any of planning individuals, professionals, as you were purchasing the land? Since you're hearing so many different things from so many different entities or individuals as to what might be a stumbling block?
Yes,
You
ma'am.
mean before we bought the property? Did we consult with the planning committee?
Pretty much.
We did.
I mean,
Yeah, we went and
you
saw-
want to know what you're gonna be getting into before you make a purchase of that significant
Yes, ma'am.
amount.
We did. We come down to the planning office and spoke with Tom, and that's where it all started, was right here.
Okay, sorry.
No,
Councilman Brooks.
no, go ahead. I'm just saying, but when you were buying it, you knew it was a one when you were purchasing it.
Oh,
Never
yeah.
told you,
purchased
they
it.
never told you
Yeah, I was
it would be a sure thing to go through as a residential change.
So
Yeah, Lynn Bobo's office told us the day of closing, that no matter what, it would always be residential.
But because there weren't driveways, we think that she was, but yes, we had an attorney tell us because those were lots, individual lots, that even though it was zoned industrial, that we should still be able, that there was some law she referenced or statute that we would always be able to fall back on. And she said, if anybody gives you trouble, you tell them, and she spitted it right, or spat it right out. I don't recall what exactly it was, and I should have written it down. But she said, if anybody ever gives you trouble, worst case scenario, you've got these lots.
Yeah, she told us that.
But later we found out, because there were no drives or accesses, almost like you just said about that other property, because nothing had been started, that maybe that actually didn't apply.
If I may, Mayor,
Yes.
I feel like I need to be recognized
Okay.
because the owners of this property have invoked the law firm that I work for and have said something about a Lynn, and I did not know anything about this.
I mean, she just said it to be helpful. She didn't,
Yeah,
she didn't cause any harm. She just said it to be helpful. She just said, you tell
Well,
them.
you just said that it'd be harmful because you were relying on her statement.
We're just answering
We were
questions.
just ignorant in that we didn't know, and that's our own fault. We should have, I guess, yes, dove deeper into this.
Well-
Honestly, we didn't have the plan to build duplexes when we purchased this property until we
Oh, you
rented
did not?
no, ma'am. And
What
we-
was the intent then for you to buy this land?
We
For a
were gonna
rental?
make an investment, and then we started renting the house there and kind of decided, hey, we can do something with the rest of this property.
So it was not your intention to purchase this property and then develop it for duplexes when you bought it?
No, ma'am.
I
That idea
just-
came late.
You've put me in a position that I
Oh,
feel
no.
like I have to address my client. I do not know what they're talking about, but somebody in my law firm, and you said you spoke to an attorney. Who was the attorney that you spoke to?
Well, I went up there and talked to I went and talked to Lynn at the front desk whenever we were doing.
Lynn, there is no Lynn at the front desk.
Well, the
She had
lady-
a lake house that we.
Yeah, she had a lake house on
I
Tim's
don't
Ford. Her
remember her
husband may have passed away. I don't know. What's her name?
That's someone else. She is not an attorney.
Oh, okay. No, she did our closing for us.
Okay, so it was a person that did your closing.
That's good.
Let me say this, please, to my client right now, that I know nothing, I did not know anything about this, about our closing. I was not involved in their closing. I will make the statement, I'm not sure exactly what they're saying, the specific factual things that they're saying that somebody may have told them, that they may have relied upon. I'm not aware of any of that. I know it's not our general practice to say anything like that when you're closing. Your closing agent, if you ask them about zoning, you need to go talk to whoever the zoning people are. So, but let me say, whether or not it was said or not, by my law firm, by Megan Trott's law firm, by Jody Lambert, or by any title, that is irrelevant to the decision before you tonight. It doesn't matter if they have somebody out in the public that advised them about what to do on zoning issues with you all. That doesn't cause you any pressure whatsoever to vote that way. I just feel like I have to make that statement.
And
Okay.
we did not consult with anyone related to planning about, we didn't even have duplexes in our mind when we bought this property. Not at all.
That's kind of my question, because it was I-1, so you knew it was industrial to build with the property that was already on there that we're gonna use to rent. So my question would have been, did you ever think, ask the current owner at that time, hey, you know, maybe this purchase is contingent on you all taking this ball and going,
She was 88
Yeah.
years old and
The
she had
property-
no desire to try to
okay,
get any kind of zoning change before she sold it.
okay,
Yeah.
That's why she sold it, the way she did.
okay.
Yes.
I bought it before it
Before it was on the market.
was on the market.
Yeah. We-
But at that time, when I bought it, we were buying 9 lots.
Mhm.
And that's where I said that at Bobo's office during closing, that they told Lynn, I think is her name, I'm not gonna swear to that, but whatever her name was, told us that these are individual lots. You're buying lot 1, lot 2, lot 3, lot 4, lot 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
And then it was recorded that way.
recorded that way,
Something of
deeded that way.
1967, I can't remember what she said. Because that's what I said. I was like,
But
hey, these
she's-
lots aren't even zoned residential. And they were like, well, these are lots. And they said the house, is also not zoned residential. So it's just our ignorance. We didn't know. We certainly are not attorneys. We are certainly not involved in zoning or planning. We weren't familiar with any of these processes. We didn't realize planning positions were appointed. We did, I mean, we've learned a lot, but no, we didn't know any of it until we started researching. And I'm embarrassed to say that I didn't know more after living here for 38 years. But yes, we've learned a whole lot.
Go ahead.
Two things that I'll be quiet.
Okay.
One, does it not make you wonder why no industry has even touched that property or anyone has ever been interested? And two, why are you against single family residence, single family homes as opposed to the duplex?
Well, for one, I think as far as resale goes, if I build single family houses, it'll cost twice as much to build the development. Each freestanding house, $275,000, where I can build a duplex for $325,000. So I'm getting twice the number for a little more money. Is the reason it would be the reason why I would want to build a duplex instead of single family houses.
But even if it went, of course, it's before the council tonight,
Mhm.
but even if it went to the hands of the planning commission again, and they felt comfortable and it fits a lot better for the single family homes, and it makes your path smoother and everyone's life a little happier and things work a lot better, would you not consider that?
We probably would consider that, but looking at every future land map, looking at the present maps, there's no R1 or 2 around there. It's R3 across the road. To the west of us, there's R4 to the west. So to me, I don't know why you would throw an R1 or 2 into R3 and 4 that's already there. To me, it looks more appealing to have that structure the same as what's around it. I could see your proposal if it was R2 across the street and R2 next to us. That's not the case. It's R3 and R3, and then R4. So.
I have one more question.
Sure.
You said resale just then. You said the resale value and
Not just
you were,
value.
no, you said resale.
Okay.
And so you had told us that you weren't going to sell it.
We would. I would sign something tonight saying.
No, we told you we're not gonna sell like duplexes. If they own our property R2, we don't know what we're gonna do with it. I mean, that's the thing.
Okay.
Your
We came
question-
up with this
No,
retirement
that's what
plan.
that's what I was
Yes.
going to say. I mean, because y'all had said that this was the property, that y'all was
This-
going to build those.
this
and then
is
you were gonna
our-
Keep them for the future.
This is our
Then
retirement
when you said
plan.
resale, I was like, wait a minute, has something changed?
No, I was saying for single family houses, like
Yes.
the difference in a single family and a duplex, the resale
Yeah,
value,
that-
I'm not reselling anything. I'm not selling anything.
Okay.
Our goal was to build this and
Yes.
keep it in 20 years, be paid off, and then have a retirement plan, and then for my kids to have something to back on and.
I just wanted to clarify.
You
Yes,
do
ma'am.
understand, you do understand that if it's rezoned, then clarify, I mean, straighten me out, council and, Madam Attorney and Mayor. Once this changes over, and you can tell us until you're blue in the face, that I'm not gonna do anything with it, I mean, it's out of our hands, is that correct?
And you've specifically talked to me about this, Ms. Ewing. As I've said before, when you rezone property to whatever the district is, you allow whatever is allowed in the district. And you specifically asked me a question this week about, and I've talked to you about contract zoning, which is generally disallowed in the straight sense of the word under Tennessee common law, but we have a form of conditional zoning. And we manage that right now through our PUD process. You rezone property to a PUD, and that allows the council to have more conditions upon what's developed on the land. You can't just do a straight rezoning and, hey, have the Clardy sign, we'll promise this and promise that. That's just not how it's done. You can do it through the planning and PUD process. When you do that, you pass that by ordinance, it becomes a law. So that's why, and several of you have asked me about this week, about maybe sending it back, maybe look at it as a PUD, to kind of limit that, because I feel like some of you don't want it industrial, some of you want it to stay maybe industrial. There are reasons on both sides to vote both way, and I think some of you though have a little bit of concern about the high density on an R3, just this particular piece of property. And that's one way that you all could, if they backed up and did it another way, came at it another way. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
But just to clarify, because I think there was a lot that transpired just then. Because my integrity is everything to me, okay? Professionally, as a human, that's all that matters to me. What we've told you that we're gonna do is specifically if this property is rezoned R3 and we build these duplexes. We've not made any promises or really given any real thought to what we would do if it was zoned R2, other than we don't know financially if we can make that work to build those homes. And we don't know if at that point they're valuable to us as rentals because of the cost of building a single family structure. And then if we can't rent them, and we did, if we're talking single family homes, again, not what we have proposed to you. But at that point, then we do have to think about resale, and we have to think about the structures that we've passed out photos to, and we're not sure that makes sense for anyone. So I don't know. We want to build something nice, but we want to build something that makes sense. I mean, for us and for the city. So that's where the duplex idea came from. That's where we thought this would fit. It would still look nice. They would still not be some big strip unit. They would still be individual structures, and we just don't, but anyways, that's putting the cart before the horse. But I just wanted to clarify what we are proposing and asking for your vote for is the plan to keep these 8 duplex units if we are able to build them.
And we actually asked the question, and you're an attorney, so we asked the question, hey, is there something, I'm used to the county. I own several properties in the county. I'm used to deed restrictions. I thought in the city, hey, probably the same thing. I can have a lawyer write up, we're only gonna build 8 on the front. It stays with this property for the remainder of its life. And it was something new that I learned this week. So, Henry had asked a question about rezone just the front of it, leaving the back half. And I said, I was fine with that. I'll sign whatever. We're willing to try to do anything to make this process as easy as possible.
Was there a reason, Councilmember Feldhouse, that you asked him to do that or consider that?
That's an option I've seen that was available in the past. That we've actually rezoned several properties in here that's owned. And so I was just an option. I was thinking out of the box as far as I could get.
I think the purpose was we were talking about density and how to limit density.
That's correct.
The R3, that if you only rezoned some of it R3, a smaller amount, you obviously reduce how many units they could put on. I think that was the conversation last week.
Yeah, and you'd also be considering that flood zone behind that. You don't want anybody building on that flood zone back there.
It still sounds like to me there's a lot of options
Yes.
available.
Right.
Yeah.
With a possible PUD that will give you the restrictions that maybe the density we're looking for. The access to the road frontage, I think, might be improved with something like that. R2 is still a possibility, maybe. There's some assumption on as your statement said, there was the planning commission, they felt there was hurry, you didn't hear a lot of discussion. So I think that needs to be studied more. So that's why I said last week, I thought it ought to be returned to the planning commission for more study. And I'll make that motion to that effect.
Respectfully, we wish that you all would vote on it. And we appreciate you trying to do all you can to help with us, but we just didn't feel
Give the motion on the
like
floor.
they were. I'm sorry.
Sorry, we have a motion on the floor from one of our council
Is
members.
there a second
I'll second that motion.
Okay,
discussion?
Don't we
All right,
have to
Lisa,
clear up-
Now you can have some
we'll
discussion.
restate that motion.
Don't we have to clear up the acreage or something?
Hang on just a minute.
Councilman Feldhouse, your motion is to refer this item back to the planning commission for further study. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Christie, you seconded that.
Yes.
One woman,
Ginger?
we could correct that at the planning commission.
Thank you.
And we can also correct the number of acres and
Yeah,
such things
correct
as had at that point in time.
Yes. That's
Okay.
what I meant.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? We're ready for a vote.
I know that you guys don't want it to go back to the planning, but we're trying to make it work. We're trying to help. And, there's more discussion, and we don't want you to feel as if the planning commission rushed through this at all.
Well, I spoke to just about every one of them, and they've all pretty much told me the same thing. If it comes back, you're not gonna really change our minds, so, that's why we were like, hey, either you vote it down or you vote it through,
So you're not considering any other option as to councilman?
No, we definitely are. Like I said, I was willing to do exactly what Henry said and survey off the front portion of it, but I just don't want to keep throwing money at something that I can't ever get a resolution for.
Right.
Like if
Even
I
if we
keep,
do
if I,
that,
because
there's no guarantee that it passes.
we've already you know, we were asked by Thomas to bring it back to one parcel because it was 9. And it would be cleaner for you all to look at. And so we've already done that. We have the expense of that. So I feel like, hey, if I just keep, you know, throwing good money after bad, it's like, hey, you know, so, but I'm willing to do anything. Like I would love to just, to start everybody off the front half and bring you 2 acres or 2.5 or whatever it is and say, hey, we only want to change this, if that's an option with you all. I would love to do that.
That's
And leave the
not,
back half zone the way it is.
that's not our option, that's the planning commission. We're trying to do business that, right now that the planning commission has to do. They've got guidelines, they've got restrictions that they have to follow. And evidently, when you presented it, 6 of them didn't think you were doing it. That's why it failed. Since I've been sitting here, I've said it for almost 4 years, we've never overstepped the planning commission. What they send us is what we get. But they're not doing it, y'all don't think they're doing it because they don't know. They're doing it to try to follow the guidelines and restrictions of the city of Shelby.
Well, I
That's
will
not what
say,
they told us.
yeah, and I will say that I didn't get a single written statement. I didn't get an email. I got absolutely nothing from the planning department telling us why they turned us down. I got nothing. I mean, so what are we having to base, you know, all this off of? We haven't had anything, any guidelines to go by. They didn't say we turned you down because of this, or we turned you down because of this.
Okay, hang on just a second. Tom, did you and I talked this afternoon, we talked about public works. Buck had come up with some things he wanted to look at in more detail about the flooding, is that correct?
Buck only, I guess on Monday, Buck brought up some issues with the, that highlighted some of the flooding issues down there, so. Yes,
That was my main objective, was flooding. We don't want to put people in an area where it's gonna flood. We don't want to put people on a street where it's gonna flood and they can't get to their house.
There's an extra road, there's a road on the back.
And we don't want houses built on that back side of it where it's gonna flood.
I'm down.
We're not gonna bring boats out there and go get those folks. We're looking at 10, 20, 30 years down the road. Who's living in that house? Who owns that house? Who's gonna take care of those people? The city of Shelbyville. That's right. The city of Shelbyville.
Mr. Mayor, if I could
Yes.
be recognized, just to speak again about the overall procedure and legality of what's before you. It's an application for rezoning, and something that, Councilmember Turnbow brought up and what they brought up. When your planning commission or your BZA is looking at an administrative decision, there are factors that they have to, and they go through and they have to say, this is the reason why we turn you down. On a rezoning, you do not have to give a reason to turn it down. And I remind you, this is a legislative decision. You're making law. The state of Tennessee very rarely turns over a rezoning decision. It has to be shown by whoever brings that lawsuit against that legislative body, city or county, that it was arbitrary, illegal, or capricious. And that generally means that they weren't given due process, or you violated some type of a constitutional right. There is no right to a rezoning at all in the state of Tennessee. And I've won several different zoning lawsuits where whether it be the Moore County Commission, whether it be the Bedford County Commission, from the city of Shelbyville, you don't have to on the record give a reason why you turn a rezoning down. All the court will do is look at your transcript, and if there's any reason in your discussion that somebody could say a reasonable person would look at that, and that could support your decision, that's what a court will look for. They refrain from substituting their judgment for your judgment. So I'm just reminding you that of where you are on this. That is what you're up against in terms of a legal review of your decision.
Okay, are we clear to go ahead with the motion and the second? Are we ready to vote? Lisa, please read that.
Mr. Mayor.
May I be recognized to speak?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Nathan Melson. I'm a civil engineer representing the Clarys. I work for St. John Engineering, and I just wanted to attempt to address some of the topics that came up, not just here in this meeting, but also at the Planning Commission meeting. So I went back and reviewed the video from the Plan Commission meeting. And the justification provided for the unfavorable recommendation from the Plan Commission was the current zoning and use is preferable for the long-term planning of the area. I can understand that. It's just somewhat vague in my opinion. The other is duplex use is out of character for the area. I think that has been proven that that is not true. Plus, if it's an R3 north of the West Jackson Street, there's plenty of other duplexes that are going to come in. They can be approved by right. They can do duplexes all through that. So I just want to address those. But then also one of the sources of concern was the Tyson opposition letter. And I wanted to address some of their concerns that they also relate to your concerns here. So the ones that we haven't discussed was one that they addressed in the letter was the vegetative buffer. That is, the Clardy's property adjoins Tyson, which it joins it right there at the tributary to Duck River. And I went and measured that off of aerial. So it's, giving me round numbers here, but the vegetative buffer all along that eastern property, they're going to have at minimum 90 feet of mature vegetative buffer. So I know that was a concern for Tyson that, hey, they would have to come back in and add more buffer, more trees, more vegetation in order to meet the buffer requirements in the city regulations. So that one's obviously 90 feet in any jurisdiction that I've seen is well above and beyond, especially when you have mature growth, takes care of that. So the other was the I-1 zoning on the opposite side of the property, which is the Callahan property. And so as you saw on the zoning maps, it has a nice contiguous I-1 zoning all the way down on the south side of Jackson. While I understand you do have that, there's a couple parcels that are I-1 to the west. The floodplain encroaches and nearly takes out nearly half of that property, not floodplain, actually floodway of the Duck River. So can you build in a floodway? Yes, but it is extremely difficult to get anything approved through FEMA or the state to allow for that. So those, if there is some industrial use that can be there, it would be really, really small to meet that. I think right now there's maybe businesses or houses to the west, down that way. The other is complaints about the facility, which you address quite eloquently. I really appreciate that. The other one is increased traffic. Yes, there are industrial facility. Tyson said that they run trucks. They got 3 shifts and they run trucks 24/7. Now, that is a major collector. It is required in the city's regulations that we have to provide an indirect access onto a major collector. In our concept plan that we provided the Planning Commission and that was shown tonight, we were showing either a one-way in or one-way out, but you would be limited to 2 access points for all of the 8 lots. Now, we're not considering the existing house. It's been there. It's basically grandfathered in. So you'd only have 2 connections to West Jackson Street for all 8 lots. Now, developing in the flood zone, we have to build out of the flood zone. Otherwise, from what I recollect, FEMA is not giving out insurance anymore for buildings, especially new development in a flood zone. So we have to build it out of the flood zone. Now, when you look at a map, yeah, they're going to look like a nice little island in that sea of blue on that floodplain. However, those houses would be protected for the 100-year flood event that would come through if it ever were to. And so basically what that would mean is anybody in those houses would have to ride out that storm. We understand that, but I mean, that's what everybody is going to have to do on that thoroughfare if that thing were ever to come anyway. So, and there's other houses in that 100-year floodplain that are actually below the 100-year floodplain. So, just wanted to give you that information before you made your decision, that there is a lot here that we still have to do, and we will make sure that these houses, to your point, 30 years down the line, they're still gonna be there and the people can still
That's
use
right.
them. So I just wanted to address those things, and of course, I'll take any questions that y'all may have.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You said the floodway takes up half the property.
Of the properties to the west. Now, on the Clardy's property, it's probably about 20% of the floodway, and that's the area that you cannot build in, or at least it would be not financially feasible for them to go that route to try to get something to flood. Now, you can do things like, parking lots and that sorts of thing down, but those are not, buildings. You can't, and it also doesn't impact flooding of downstream, neighbors.
All right, let me hold up. Betsy, do you have another question? Are you good?
Yeah, I'm just trying.
Everybody else good? I think it's time for us to vote on the motion and the second that we have on the floor. And Lisa, please, bring it back up to us, what we're voting on.
Yes, sir. You are voting on a motion to defer this item back to the planning commission for further study. If you agree with that, when I call your name, you'll say yes. Councilmember Turnbow?
Wait a minute.
Send it back to the planning commission for
Yes.
further study.
Yes.
Councilmember Blevins?
Yes.
Councilmember Christie?
Yes.
Councilmember Noel?
Yes.
Councilmember Ewing?
Yes.
Councilmember Feldhouse?
Yes.
So that item will go back to the planning commission.
Okay. Thank you, folks. Okay, the next item is resolutions. And this A has been removed, as we told you before on that bill grant. Let's go to B. Ginger, please.
Yes, sir. A resolution of the City of Shelbyville, Tennessee, authorizing a grant application with the Tennessee Department of Commerce and Insurance and the Tennessee State Fire Marshal's Office for a 2026 Rescue Squad grant.
Okay, is there a motion for us to authorize that grant application?
So moved.
Your second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion on that?
I'll just, real brief.
Okay.
We didn't know about this grant in time to put it on the study session. What it will allow is for the fire department to buy a new motor for the rescue boat. And I think it was like $8,600, and there's no local match.
Thank you, Lisa. All right, there's no further discussion. Let's have a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Feldhouse?
Yes.
Councilmember Ewing?
Yes.
Councilmember Noel?
Yes.
Councilmember Christie?
Yes.
Councilmember Blevins?
Yes.
Councilmember Turnbow?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, business items. Thank you, Ginger, for reading those things for us.
Yes, sir.
A is consideration of a motion to authorize a salary study and pay plan update with BTA Consulting in the amount of $20,160 for the mayor to sign a statement of work and fee schedule. Do I have a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, do I have a second? Okay, all right, any discussion on that? All right, let's have a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Christie?
No.
Councilmember Blevins?
Yes.
Councilmember Turnbow?
Yes.
Councilmember Noel?
Yes.
Councilmember Ewing?
Yes.
Councilmember Feldhouse?
Yes.
That item passes 5 yeses, 1 no.
Okay, thank you. All right, B, consideration of a motion to approve local tourism grant in the amount of $5,000 for the community clinic of Shelbyville and Bedford County for a CCSBC and Meharry School of Dentistry Gala to be held April the 11th, 2026. This will be paid for from the fiscal year 26 hotel motel budget appropriated for tourism. Okay, do I have a motion to approve that?
Wait a minute, did we find out where that other 50% of that 20-something thousand is going? 50-something. I asked that question, y'all was going. Right, you were gonna let us know. Yeah, said you'd let us know.
I'm just saying, I wanted to know whether the half was,
Right.
like, did it just split in half, and each one of those got that, or if it was
Right.
divided by that?
We did split in half, and
Hang on just a minute.
Yeah.
dentistry got half, and who else got the other?
Who got the other
Who
part?
got the other
Do we
half?
have time to defer this? It's in April.
Okay, wait, I mean, it'll be there.
Motion to defer.
Do I have, we've got a motion to defer. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay?
Till
Any
next-
more discussion on it?
Just
Yes.
clarifying to defer to next month.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know that, Madam Treasurer keeps us up to date on, our hotel motel books, and it's dwindling down until, I guess, the next fiscal year. But how are we assured that these events bring in or put those heads in beds other than something in writing from these individuals?
Good
Folks,
We don't,
good question. Good question.
we're a sophisticated body,
Right.
and we have to make sure the i's are dotted and the t's are crossed. And I think that we should be more reassured. Maybe no one else agrees, but I think that we should. And I'm not sure what approach to take, but I think that we should. And I'm not saying that the entities are just putting down numbers and telling the council something. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But I just think that we need to, get confirmation.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so
Councilmember Noel.
Do we have somebody in the organization that can maybe explain a little bit of that?
Yeah. Make a request and do it that way. Yeah. Do we need to defer this? It's April 11th, or do they? Okay. Yeah, we've got time. All right. I need a motion to defer if that's what we want to do.
We did.
Okay, second.
We have that.
Okay.
And you
All
can do it all in favor,
Okay. Any discussion? Let's have a roll call vote, please.
we can do that as an all in favor, Mayor.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? All right. Thank you. All right. All right. The next one is C, approval of a tourism grant in the amount of $7,500 to the Cowboy Mounted Shooting Association for their local event scheduled September the 11th through the 19th, 2026. These funds will be included in the fiscal year 2027 hotel motel budget. Now, this is taking place at our celebration grounds, correct, Scott?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do we have a motion on that one? All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion on that before we vote on it?
How much we give them last year? Same thing? Okay.
Same thing, I think, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they brought this show has come to Shelbyville. It used to be somewhere else, didn't it?
Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or discussion before we vote? All right, Lisa, roll call, please.
Councilmember Noel,
Yes.
Councilmember Christie,
Yes.
Councilmember Blevins.
Yes.
Councilmember Turnbow,
Yes.
Councilmember Feldhouse,
Yes.
Councilmember Umi.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, D is consideration of a motion to award the requests for proposals for the Welcome to Shelbyville signs. Do I have a motion to award that?
I'm not sure what we're awarding yet. Did we pick one?
Well, that was,
Oh,
we
yeah, we
wanted
did.
you to
Which one
pick
did we?
one.
Lori?
Look, Sue, something.
We had 5, right?
Yeah, there were five.
Lori, I'll check out about
Sleep back there.
Can you answer those questions that they're asking about?
They're wanting to know, do you have the tally on the votes?
Yeah.
We had that last time, but we.
Yeah.
We're gonna vote on the top 3 or something, weren't we?
Yes, I do.
Our purchasing agent, Ms. Sadler?
What I sent out, last Friday to you all was the top 5. Submittal number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 out of 11. Those were their numbers. Number 2 had 10 votes, number 3 had 10 votes, number 4 had 6 votes, number 5 had 6 votes, and submittal number 6 had 5 votes. And, I attached a little more detail with all that, the size of the signs and the pricing and, the vendor providing that sign.
Well, the two that got the most votes, what was the price the same, similar, or what was the price different?
The two that got the most votes, illustration number 2, which was the one that looks kind of like a rock. It was the most expensive at $25,140 per sign. That would be an investment for 4 signs of $100,560. The illustration number, do you want me to go over all these?
No, just a second. The second one got 10 votes.
It was $20,320 per sign, an $81,280 investment for 4 signs.
The number,
2 and 3.
that's 1 and 2.
No,
But I
two
mean,
and
the
three.
number
2 and 3,
when they
yeah.
were choosing, right?
It's illustration 2, illustration
It's
3, they
almost
both got
40,000
10
cheaper.
points.
And
And that's why I included all the pictures again and the details, because this is your top 5, and that's the thing with an RFP. You can select, you can make choices, and you can even take away and add. I mean, you can adjust the way the sign looks, you can change colors,
Right.
you can change, or request changes in an RFP, negotiate.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to just defer this to next month's study session so we can look at it a little closer. I think it's too big of a decision to make, picking a sign in the spot with dollars and, yeah.
Okay,
Okay, very good.
got a motion to defer till next month and a second. Any more discussion on that? Thank you, Lori.
Yeah, could you send us again the picture of the top 5 with the price?
Sure.
We'll have a hard copy handout laying.
Not in front of you, yeah.
Next time.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second to defer to next month. Any more discussion on that? If not, I'll need a roll call vote, or are we just all in favor?
We can do that. as
All
a
in
vote.
favor, say aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. All right, E is a consideration of a motion to approve an update to the professional services agreement with Davis Stokes Collaborative, originally approved in January 2020. This will be for the airport terminal renovations and 2 other airport projects. The fee will remain at 8% of construction costs with a credit of $4,890.43. Those funds have already been paid to them back in 2020. And we're using funds from a grant, a federal grant, to do this work, are we not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so it's not costing the taxpayers, it's coming from a federal grant.
Right,
Okay.
and then what part, that is supposed to come from us will be, there is a little percentage, I think it's like 5%, and, Director Perry says he can get that from the state grant, that he can get that from them. But I do want to say that this is only for the terminal, airport terminal renovations.
Right.
I put in 2 other airport projects on there because I materialized that in something I read, and
So let's remove that, that's, that part of it, okay?
Yes,
Those
it is
are
only
and
for-
2 other airport projects.
yes, just
All right, before we
strike
get,
that.
the motion on that, all right, everybody agree with removing that? Thank you, Lisa.
Yes, sir.
All right, do we have a motion to approve that update?
Motion to approve?
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? Not, let's have a roll call vote.
Councilmember Feldhouse,
Yes.
Councilmember Ewing,
Yes.
Councilmember Noel,
Yes.
Councilmember Christie,
Yes.
Councilmember Blake,
Yes.
Councilmember Turnbull.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, folks. F is a consideration of a motion to authorize the application for a better utilizing investments to leverage development build grant for the mayor to sign any documents necessary for this application. Scott, you want to just briefly tell us about the build grant just again? Most of us are aware of it.
Yes, we had a meeting, earlier this week, and 2 reasons that we're recommending the Colorado intersection as part of it, and then also the Flume 2A from the outlet to Big Springs, is we think they'd have the best chance to be funded. We had 10 projects that were discussed, but Mayor, if I may, Will can
Yeah, you guys have already had a long night, so I don't necessarily want to get into the nuts and bolts, but I'm prepared to if you'd like to. It is a U.S. Department of Transportation direct federal grant, so it'd be a direct allocation from federal government. Just to give you kind of an idea of the scope, in 2025, there were only 2 projects in the state of Tennessee that were funded. One was in Knoxville and one was in Mount Juliet. Each of those projects were funded at the maximum amount of $25 million. The total cost of each of those projects were in the 60 to 70 million range. So these are extremely large scale projects that typically get funded. So the thought process was the flume is, for lack of a better term, a good eye candy project. It is unique, right? And so there's an opportunity, even though it is a primarily transportation-focused grant program, there are bridge components that are allowed, and so the flume, if you look at it in that capacity, is just a really long bridge, right? There's several roads that go over it. So that was kind of the idea of the flume replacement / repair. And that would be just for the planning portion. So we would dive, if it was awarded, we'd dive deeply into the permitting, and then we would do reporting and evaluation of a repair option versus a replacement option and all things in between. And then the East Lane, Lane and Union is more of a traditional, obviously, road project that is a pretty large scale endeavor. Based on the utility efforts that would have to be relocated. So that's where we're at in those two
These
projects.
type grants don't come around every day, do they?
They don't. The program has been around since 2009 as a whole, and it ranges anywhere from 1 to 2 billion in total funding each year, and they're right at around 1.4, I think, for 2026. So,
any questions for Will before we vote or ask for a motion?
One point of clarity that I think would be of great interest to you is you are deemed as a rural community in this program, which doesn't have any match at all. So there's no obligation.
Right.
Yeah. There's no obligation that you're making for yourself.
Thank you, Will.
Yeah.
All right, I need a motion to authorize the mayor to sign that letter of support. So I mean, for the application for the better utilization. I'm looking at the next one. Okay. Okay. Any questions? Do we need a roll call on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's do a roll call, please.
Councilmember Feldhouse?
Yes.
Councilmember Ewing?
Yes.
Councilmember Noel?
Yes.
Councilmember Christie has stepped away. Councilmember Blevins?
Yes.
Councilmember Turnbow?
Yes.
That motion passes with 5 yeses.
Okay, thank you. All right, G is consideration of a motion to authorize the mayor to sign a letter of support for the Shelbyville Housing Authority's conversion to housing assistance payment, CHAP, as approved by HUD. Now, Mr. Tillman and your associate have been here all night, and we appreciate you being here. Only reason that I asked Ginger to look into this, and we also checked with the Housing Authority Board and those folks, we just kind of want a brief, just a description. This is like a 20-year plan, isn't it?
Well, it's like, the 20-year plan is basically the contract in which we're signing when you go to RAD.
Okay.
RAD means rental assistance demonstration.
Okay.
A 20-year contract means every month I have to put in escrow a certain amount of money,
okay,
like a savings account.
Okay.
And that's where future construction will come from. And that's basically where we come from. We started RAD 2 years ago. Okay, 430 units. We did 190 of that 430, so we're already in RAD. So now our housing authority size is 240 units, less than 250. Well, HUD came back and said, all small housing authorities under 250 units can get a Section 18 blend. That's where we got the Section 18 blend.
All right.
Section 18 basically means that In RAD, all your houses, your income and subsidy is based on fair market rent. Okay? RAD is 80% of fair market rate, which is more subsidy than what we get now. Okay? Section 18 blend, 90% of the units that you're turning over, which is 216, can go to Section 18. You get 110% subsidy of fair market rent. And that's the reason we want to go.
That's right.
As simple as that. The remaining 24 units would be just regular rate. The way HUD is going now, to give you a for instance, say our subsidy was $100, and the last 3 to 4 years, they've never paid 100% $100. We've been getting like $94. This year, it's going to be $85. So you're getting cut. This has no bearing on the resident at all. The resident pays the same amount of money for rent. 30% of their income goes toward the rent. This is on the financing side that we're looking at. All financing, so this is separate. This is the money that we get. So the extra money we'll use, pay the escrow amount. After the escrow amount, we'll have extra money to go into the cash flow, operate housing regularly without any outside help, and can continue on with business. Anytime down the road, well, I think someone asked, Section 18, that means you can tear down and build something back. We've always had that right. We've always had that strength that we could tear down any unit, rebuild it any time. But we're not, our plan is not to do that. Our units are at least, most of them, 75 years old. You've had 12,000 people over the last, since they've been built, to live in those homes. We average about 200 people a year rotating in and rotating out. So you think about it, the house is worn, and you keep tearing it down, rebuilding the inside. Well, you take care of some of it, but now you got your piping, utilities, everything. It really needs to be redone. So in the future, with money that we're setting aside, we will come back and take certain areas, tear down, rebuild, and go from there. We're not displacing any resident.
Right.
No resident be displaced. The way we normally do when we do something like that, we'll take an area. As the units become vacant, we won't rent them. They'll stay vacant. Then we'll go through, tear them down, build, move those residents over here, tear the others down. No one loses their place. We're not going to displace anybody. And that's why it's such a good program.
I think, I'm glad that you were here tonight and could describe it to everybody on the city council.
Well, that's no problem. I'm glad to do it.
Yeah. Sorry you had to wait so long.
Get out there later tonight.
Kind of get an idea of what we get sometimes. And we appreciate everything you do. I want to let you know that, and everything you do for the citizens that live in those housing and trying to take care of them, we really appreciate.
We appreciate you all.
All right, thank you, sir. I would consider a motion at this time to sign that letter of support. Okay?
Second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we'll get that letter to you, okay? Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, purchasing and bid items, we don't have any tonight. Board of Zoning Appeals, Lisa and I are still looking for folks, and I have asked some folks. We've asked, I've had people to think about it 3 or 4 days, and then they decided not, but we're looking at that, and I made a call to the chairman of that committee today, and left a message for him. Announcements, please, Lisa.
We have one here, so that's.
Okay.
City Hall will be closed on Monday, February 16th, in observation of President's Day. Monday's trash will be picked up on Tuesday, February 17th. We're gonna be closed on the 16th. February 16th, Tuesday, we'll pick up Monday's trash with Tuesday's regular wrap.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I have.
Do we have any other business?
Sorry,
Yes.
The announcement I had. it came to Renee, you may know, it's the Black History Coffee, annual coffee on Wednesday, February 25th, and it's going on at Rosenwald Community Center. And I believe it's at 9 o'clock. Just get there at 9. It's either 9 or 10. Just get there at 9. But yeah, they would love to see everybody.
What day?
February 25th.
Wednesday, February 25th. Rosenwald Community
At
Center.
9 o'clock. And that's at the Rosenwald.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that announcement. Anybody else have an announcement? All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Second, all in favor, say aye. We're adjourned.